Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where and when you are. My name's Eddie Ludlow. I'm the founder of the Whiskey Lounge, and I'm delighted to introduce another Festival in a Box 3.0 tasting session. I'm equally delighted to say that we're joined by Emily Coyle from J G Thomson, who's going to be introducing their Smoky blended Scotch malt whiskey. And I'm going to bring Emily in just now. Hi, Emily. How are you doing?
Hello, good. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you, and all the better for seeing you and knowing that I'm about to taste another delicious whiskey.
Yay. I'm glad we scheduled this for the afternoon. That's all I'll say.
Indeed, indeed.
A Monday morning wouldn't be quite as advantageous.
Well, I have done some on Monday mornings, and actually, you can kind of put a skip in your step for the first thing. It takes the edge off that Monday morning feeling. But anyway, listen, Emily, I really appreciate you coming on today, and I'm sure the folks at home are equally appreciative. But can you perhaps just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do with J G Thomson?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Emily. I've recently joined the team at Artisanal Spirits, and I look after predominantly J G Thomson. So my day-to-day focus is on the on and off trade sales. However, I'm also very involved in the kind of overall general business development of the brand as well, which I've been doing now within whiskey more generally for about 5 years. So obviously J G Thomson's a brand new brand, something we've just brought to the market in early November. So my job really is to get it out there as much as I can and let everyone be aware of the fact that we're here and we've got some great liquid and some great bottlings, and it is all small batch, so there's loads to come. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Well, it's always exciting to see a new bottler, and I was delighted to hear of your guys' involvement in this event, and hopefully in our live events next year as well. Anyway, let me get a bottle. I'm going to get my bottle down from here. Oh, you've got a bottle there as well.
I sure do.
We love that.
I actually wasn't sure how much airtime the bottle would get, so I've already got mine poured. Okay. Always prepared.
Put that up there. Now, why don't we sample the liquid, but at the same time, if you wouldn't mind maybe giving us a little bit of information about the whiskey we're going to be tasting.
Absolutely. So today we're focusing on one of our 3 kind of core GGT blends, blended malts, that is. The range consists of smoky, rich and sweet. So like as far as I'm concerned, that there really is something for everyone. The one we're about to taste, that's 100% Islay malts. So it has got that, it packs a good punch. It's a nice smoky flavour to it. So as soon as you get the cork off it, for me, you're getting kind of barbecued fruits and you're getting a bit of burning ash. It's a really nice, deep smoke smell.
Yeah.
But it's not overpowering either. So it's a really nice happy medium. You know it's there and you know you want to drink it, but it's not blowing your socks off.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely a sweetness underlying as well, isn't there?
Yeah. So we're using PX butts and hogheads for kind of richness, and depth. But we're also using some ex-bourbon barrels, which gives it the sweetness. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit of a mix of different woods and different toasts, different chars that we're in a really lovely position that we can play around with and experiment with, as it is small batch as well. So we're not going to be, nothing's going to be the same twice basically, but we are getting that same punch and that same flavor and that boldness that we're kind of aiming for.
Yes. Now, are you able to tell us at least how many distilleries this comes from on Islay, or?
We can't disclose the distilleries or the amount of. We can't disclose the 8, so it's between kind of 8 and 9 in terms of years, but we can't disclose what we're doing with the ingredient mix, unfortunately. Our lips are sealed.
I thought that might be the case, but I thought I'd try and tease it out of you.
Yeah, you're welcome to guess, but I couldn't tell you if you were right or wrong. Yeah. I played that game at a festival I was at recently, and I said, "You're welcome to guess." And they all started guessing at me, and I was like, I'm not going to tell you if you're right. This is more of an exercise for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, as much as you like, but I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, I have been
Well,
sworn to secrecy.
I mean, the main thing is to focus on the quality of the whiskey, obviously, and that's part and parcel of and the opportunity with blended malt whiskey is being able to take a diverse set of whiskies and blend them together into something really quite harmonious.
Absolutely.
I'm getting quite leafy, sweet forest undergrowth.
Oh, I like that.
It's quite a herbaceous sweetness, isn't it? It's not like a toffee or kind of fruity sweetness, although there are definitely fruits in there.
I don't know how much I'll be thanked for it, but I think it's quite a meaty, smoky smell.
Actually, I get more of the fruits on the palate, which is really lovely. It's nice, actually.
It's a nice mix of sweet and salt on the palate for me.
But it's nice to get a whiskey that has a clear peaty backbone, but it's not just about the peat. There's definitely balancing aspects to it as well. I'm going to add a little bit
of flavor.
How do you feel about adding water to whiskey?
I am of the opinion of each to their own. I have my water here ready. I actually do quite like a small drop of water in the smoky, the smoky one that we have. It opens up, doesn't it? It completely changes it. So, but it's excellent either way. You can enjoy it neat, or you can enjoy it with a splash of water. No one's judging here. Everyone's. Yes. For me, whiskey is best served how you like it.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be the common theme running through this series, which is important. It's people. You're paying for it. You do what you want with it, basically.
Absolutely.
We can advise, but that's all it is. Certainly, I find with the addition of water, particularly to peated whiskies, it serves to really underline the smoky characteristics. And
it just opens it up slightly.
Definitely.
I think as long as the water's not freezing cold, it doesn't really do anything bad to a whiskey.
No.
Makes it last longer.
That's always a good thing. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I might prefer it without whiskey. Without whiskey. Without whiskey wouldn't be much fun. Without water, I think. Even though it's still very, very nice. I think without water, it just had this lovely kind of fruity intensity along with the peat. But there's very little between it. Now, while we continue to enjoy that, Emily, would you mind maybe, because J G Thomson is not a name that most people will have come across before. So could you perhaps give us a little bit of background to the brand and how it's come about?
Yeah, absolutely. So J G Thomson is a new kind of adventurous blender. We're creating small batch blended malts, blended grains. We've also got a citrus gin, we've got a rum. So we've got a lot kind of in the portfolio, and we've taken our inspiration from our namesake, which was originally a wine and spirits merchant in Leith, with roots which date back to 1700s. So the vaults where we are now was originally owned by J G Thomson, and then the Scottish Malt Whisky Society acquired the building in the 1970s, and they are owned by the same people as J G Thomson. So Artisanal Spirits owns the rights to J G Thomson's brand, and also the Scottish Malt Whisky Society. So we're just trying to kind of reignite an existing what once was amazing wine and spirits merchant with a brand new brand of kind of bold blended malts, essentially.
Indeed. Well, it's always very exciting, like I say, to have a new bottler. What are the plans for because obviously you've only just released these whiskies. Have you got plans for further whiskies in the next year or two? Or
so we will be releasing batch 2. It's all we don't have a timestamp on it. We'll be expanding out of the UK. At the moment, our focus is the UK. That's where I'm kind of trying to really push our brand awareness and make everyone let everyone know who we are and that we're here.
Mm-hmm.
We will expand further into Europe and beyond eventually, but we just don't have a time limit on it because especially with the way we are right now and the kind of restrictions that we're under, we're not looking at placing specific stamps on it. We do have quite a lot of interest from a lot of retailers and buyers out with the UK, but unfortunately we just need to kind of do what we're doing and keep it where we are. But we will be releasing batch 2 as soon as batch 1 essentially starts to run out, as it were. So everything is a bit up in the air at the moment, but batch 2 will be coming in the kind of the next few, well, certainly quarter 1, quarter 2, we'll be looking at expanding and releasing that. The liquid is ready, and we do have that in kind of ready to go, but we're just waiting for the right time and when we've got enough people aware of who we are and what we're doing. We wouldn't want to release batch 2 into a much more known audience than batch 1. Basically, we would like everyone to kind of get to know the brand with the original liquid that we're kind of trying to distribute.
Sure. And any ambitions for releasing single malts or single casks or anything like that? Or
there's nothing in the cards at the moment. We will be, I mean, never say never. We've got so much creative, so many creative minds behind what we're doing. We've got the most talented team of blenders behind us. So ideally, we will stick to what we're doing with the blends, but there's not to say there won't be a single cask. We're not saying no to anything at this stage. It's a brand new project. So depending on how we're received, we can the luxury of what we're doing is that we've got so many different options and we've got so many different experimentations that we can do. So we're quite lucky in that sense.
And I mean, it's great to see you championing the blended malt whiskey, which I mean often gets kind of tarred to the same brush as blended Scotch whiskey, which is obviously, they're very, very separate categories. So blended malt, as you know, but the viewers at home, blended malt is a blend of single malts, whereas a blended Scotch contains malt whiskey and grain whiskey. Now, in terms of the batches themselves, can you give us an idea of the sort of size of each batch? Because obviously, if you're already looking at batch 2, then I imagine then they're certainly much smaller than a batch of Johnnie Walker Black Label or something like that.
It is smaller. Do you know? I actually knew that question was going to come up, and I meant to double check. I don't have the exact figures, but from recollection, it's roughly 2,000 bottles, so it is small.
Right.
We're not. Yeah, so we're keeping it. I think the purpose for us is to have bold and exciting and different flavors available to people that are ready to that want to go down a journey of taste. So we want to be able to create new and exciting whiskies for them. So I can confirm. I'll let you know before we post this out. But I do think it's about 2,000 roughly of each, and we're doing the small batches with the rum and the gin as well. So it's not just the blends, the blended whiskies that we're doing that with. So it's
rum and gin as well.
Keeps it exciting.
Fantastic. So it's really a bottle for all drinkers, really, not just whiskey drinkers.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And just in terms of the wider whiskey world, are there any other whiskies or perhaps distilleries or anything that you've tasted in the last 12 months that particularly ticked any boxes or anything like that?
Oh, well, I still, at the moment, I've got a bottle of Kubokin open from Tomatin, which I'm still absolutely loving. So I like to try and open one at a time instead of having them all open at once, because otherwise it just gets silly. So I've got some Kubokin. I love a peated whiskey, but I like a sweet peated whiskey. So I previously worked with the Glasgow distillery, and their peated 1770 it's wonderful. I really enjoyed that one. That's what kind of opened my eyes a bit to peated. So I would say I have one of them open kind of anyway generally, but right now I'm enjoying Kubokin.
Fantastic. So you're a peaty gal.
I'm a peaty gal, which is interesting because if it's not whiskey I'm drinking, it's wine. But I don't like oaky Chardonnay wines. and I
Mm.
don't, and if it's not wine, it's gin, and
Mhm.
that has to be really fresh. So really, the peated whiskies come from nowhere. Like, I can't
Yes,
compare it to anything. My palate
yes.
must still be uh, excited by lots of different flavors.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that is quite odd, but at the same time, I see no problem with that at all. Drinking, PT whiskies and enjoying unoaked Chardonnay,
Yeah.
which kind of leads nicely into my last question to you, which was, outside of whiskey, what can we find you tippling, drinking, at home or at the bar?
Well, if we're sticking to spirits, my next one would be a gin.
Hmm.
Not a rum girl, as much as I will obviously advocate on behalf of our Jamaican rum. I'm not a massive rum drinker. Um, I
But
like a
yeah,
gin and tonic, but just a gin and tonic. None of your sweet gins with various fancy
mm,
syrups and flavors. I like a juniper heavy citrus led gin.
right, right, yeah, no, I get you on that. So I'm guessing that you don't feel this kind of gin, this kind of fanaticism towards these flavored gins and
It's huge, isn't it? It's not for me. I like a gin that tastes like gin.
yeah, yeah. I think I'm with you on that, and that's what we like about gin is juniper. Surely, I mean that's what defines gin, and
Why
then
do you drink it?
they take it out, and it's not really gin anymore, is it?
Or they just disguise it with glitter.
Yeah, 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 and a fancy bottle and label and so on. Well, that's what we love about whiskey. It doesn't normally hide behind its packaging, although sometimes there is a lot of packaging. But anyway, listen, thoroughly enjoyed the Smoky, and thank you so much for
You're
presenting.
very welcome. Absolutely. It was great.
Um,
And thanks for having me.
no, it's an absolute pleasure, and hopefully we'll see you or the team on
Fingers crossed.
in live festivals next year. Fingers
In real
crossed.
life. Yeah.
But yes, but for now, Emily, I wish you well and
Cheers.
have a great Christmas and New
Oh,
Year.
you too. Have a lovely Christmas.
And thanks once again, and speak to you very soon. Slán
Yeah.
Jabbar.
Slán.
Cheers.